Okay, so I'm gonna draw this little skull. And the first thing that we wanna do is figure out the general shape. So that's just the outline, right? The contour that goes all the way around. But then also these really important details like here, and then where we have this really dark shadow inside the eye socket, you can see that this kind of opens up. This is a little bit harder to see, we'll focus on that later. We have a big area of shadow in here in the nostrils, and then this really extreme point on the skull. Also this fissure that runs up the center there. So I want to point a couple things out before we start. Up here, whoa, along this edge of the skull, there's a really clear differentiation between this value and the value of the box behind it. Similar here and here. However, this in here with the eye socket and the box, that's all really similar values, so it's not going to have as harsh of a line around the bone. So you want to make sure that you don't just make this look like a cartoon and outline everything really heavily. This isn't going to have as much of a harsh outline over here, but you can see where there's this little bit of light peeking through here. That creates a really defined line. Same thing up here, the black shadow up against the white that's behind it. So that's where we're going to start. I'm going to identify my areas of highlight, which is right here along this kind of nose area, the snout, if you will. There's also some highlight here inside the nostril. We have a little bit of like extra highlight on the eye socket over here, some light spilling over. Deepest, darkest shadows are going to be down here and right behind this little ridge, but also in here, down in here, and over here behind the box, if I get over there. You can see too that in this shadow area, it's even darker than the rest of the stuff. So let's focus on that. Okay, so with that I also want to point out a couple other things. So obviously this skull is not looking at us like head on. So it's at, it's at an angle. And so what that means is that, we understand that the eye sockets are going to be aligned on the skull when we look at it, but when we draw it, I want you to use your pencil as a tool. And so I'm going to look at this area where I can see that part of the eye socket coming back to the skull. I'm going to look at it on both sides, and I'm going to use my pencil to align them. And you can see when I do this that it's not a horizontal line. It's actually on an angle, a lot like this, right? That makes sense. Same thing when we come down here to the bottom of the eye socket and when we get down to the nostrils. So everything's going to kind of line up. It's not going to be the way that you think about it in your mind. You have to remove the idea of the object from your mind and just start to draw some shapes. And so when I get to it, I'm going to start drawing, just this negative shape. I'll draw just this negative shape. Maybe I'll use this line of the box to help me with that. I'll draw this shadow shape. And I'm looking at too, like this little point right here and over here, they're not going to be perfectly, they're not flat. They're not going to be parallel to us as we look at it. They're going to be on an angle like this. I also want to point out that you can use your pencil to help measure things. So right now my arm is at a full extension. And so I can use this, for example, if I want to measure how wide this area is between the eye socket bone and here, and how wide this is, I'm going to take my pencil, I'm going to put it, you can use the tip or you can use the back. I like to use the back, I don't know why. And I'm going to line it up with the inside, and then I'm going to take my thumbnail and I'm going to bring it right in there. Okay, so that's how wide this is. And then I'm going to bring it over here. Whoa. So this eye socket opening is not quite as wide as this one over here at its widest point. So that's good to know when I'm referencing my drawing, because right now on my drawing, that's not how this is. I need to make this whole eye socket a lot wider. You can see how kind of wonky it is, and that's okay. You're going to have to go with it and adjust as you explore the object. But I know that I need to make this a lot wider.